Post on Fight Hub of you promoting the fight, was you hanging out with the Raza. You've got your Mexican shirt on now. What's your idea behind selling these shirts and promoting the fight in this way?
But I got a lot of Mexican supporters. They love boxing. I got a lot of people that I grew up with as, Latino. So, this is for the whole Mexican people that love me and support me.
Are you looking to rile Canelo up with these actions, do you think?
No. Canelo, he cool. He ain't worrying about that.
Do you feel like there's going to be any tension today and at the press conferences across this world tour?
I don't know. I don't put it past anything. It could not be.
And how do you feel at this weight? You're obviously bigger coming into this fight. This is the main talking point for a lot of people. How do you feel in sparring, just in day-to-day life as a bigger man?
I just feel like I'm going to be more healthier. I don't got to lose, a lot of weight. I'm going to be more stronger, more energized, more, powerful at the end of the day.
Have you been more powerful in sparring? Can you feel that in your hands? Bigger, packing bigger punches, bigger shots?
I haven't been sparring yet. Camp ain't really started yet, so, we just getting ready.
Hey, Terence, any opponents that you feel that you fought before that mimic Canelo's style, either a little bit or have similar attributes to him?
I can't put it like one opponent, but, there's things that Canelo do that maybe a couple of fighters does, things like that.
Do you think he's fought someone that has any of the attributes that you have?
Yeah, I believe he fought, a few fighters that, box and got good jabs, movement, counter punch, things like that. That's part of being at the top of, the boxing world. You got the experience that you've been in the ring with a lot of fighters with different styles.
Do you look to this be a fight that will make waves within boxing history? Do you look to some of the fights in the past that have made similar sort of waves in Lamont and Robinson or Hagler and Leonard that have this similar sort of tail to him?
I'm looking forward to it having its own, history. The Canelo and Crawford history, and it's going to be solidified as one of the greatest moments of my career.
A lot of the boxing talk when it comes to this fight is the talk that you're possibly the favourite in it. Do you see yourself as that? Do you see yourself as the underdog? Do you want to have that mentality? What's your feeling about Canelo?
Listen, however they rate me, it doesn't matter. At the end of the day, we got to fight, and I'm going to win the fight. As simple as that.
There's a lot of experts that think Canelo's not the same fighter. His punch output's a lot less. What do you think, considering the last 12 months or so? Is he the same fighter he was maybe a few years ago?
I think he is. I just think he just wasn't up for the Skull fight, and I think different fighters bring different energies out of other fighters.
A lot of people are judging you on the Madrimov fight, saying you struggled moving up in weight. You're going further up in weight, and they're saying that's going to go against you based on the Madrimov fight. How do you kind of reply to that?
We shall see.
It's pretty short. I want to get your opinion on Richardson Hitchens at the weekend. He talked about, Eddie Hearn and him talked about fighter loyalty. Where do you kind of sit with it? Eddie's argument is that he's invested in him. He's not going to get his investment back if he goes solo. Who's right in that situation, considering he was nowhere with Floyd Mayweather?
They both right. Yeah. They both right in that situation. Africa got the right to take on his own career and bet on himself, and Eddie have the right to want Africa to repay him with the loyalty that he gave him. So both of them are right.
With your previous biggest purse, you rebuilt homes, rebuilt gyms. What kind of stuff you've got in the pipeline and plan for what you're going to do in Omaha after this fight?
I'm looking forward to doing the same thing that I've been doing, trying to uplift my community, build apartments and remodel houses and things like that, and just give back to my community like I've been doing.
Any success stories from that? Have you seen anything that been back, and obviously things are being built now? Have you been back and seen the result of the investment you've made?
Of course. It's a big thing. Omaha, the housing, you know, it's low, and you know, me fixing up these old houses and giving these people a nice house or apartment to rent from and things like that. That's giving back to the community and so forth with my gym back at home with the youth and the kids. We actually got a young lady in Vegas right now fighting in a national tournament. Her name is Jasmine. She just won her first match against a two-time national champion. She going into the next round. So we producing a lot of great things in the gym.
Terence, can I ask you, you've done a bit with Piers Morgan, who's quite a divisive character in the UK. Some people love him, some hate him. Yeah. Just your thoughts on Piers Morgan and how you know, when you met him, what you thought of him as a person and an interviewer?
He was cool, you know. I didn't have no ill will feelings towards him. You know, the interview, it was cool, you know. It was a couple of things that he said that it was just like, man, come on, man. You know.
Disrespectful or?
I wouldn't say disrespectful. It was just that, you know, him trying to pull certain things out of me and Canelo, and it was just like, all right, man, you know. But it was a good interview. It was cool.
One of the clips I saw, I know the full thing I think is out tomorrow. One of the clips I saw, he said, when I beat Canelo Alvarez, I'm on the Mount Rushmore of boxing. So let's fast forward to September. You beat Canelo Alvarez. What continues the Mount Rushmore of boxing? Terence, Crawford, and
whoever they put up there. I just know I'm up there. You know, it's going to be they opinion, but I know, you know, I got a seat at the table.
Do you have any personal favourites to be up there?
Well, you know, me, Ali, you know, just to start.
Oscar De La Hoya said some quite controversial things about this fight. He said Crawford couldn't push back Madrimov. Canelo's going to run you out of the ring, and he doesn't get along with Canelo. So I wondered, what's your response to this?
Well, you know, when you see Oscar changing up his tone and his opinion every week, you know, it's hard to believe anything that he say. 1 minute, you know, he says this about Canelo, next minute he say that about Canelo. But that's why we fight, you know, so we can see if he's going to run me out the ring, you know. So September 13th, everybody's questions will be answered.
Terence, can I ask you, Gervonta Tank Davis has said that nothing will move him from Al Haymon, is going to stay loyal to him, but does that preclude him from making those legacy fights that he wants without the inclusion of Riyadh season?
That's on him. That ain't got nothing to do with me.
Can I ask you about if there's any rematch clause with this fight with Canelo?
No, it's not.
Is that something you push for?
No, I didn't.
And is any weight restrictions to the fight at all?
No, it's not.
A lot of fighters would like to put on a weight restriction to this type of fight. Why didn't you want to do that?
Because I want him at his best. I don't want no excuses. I don't want no, you know, reasons why, you know, he didn't feel good or anything. I want him at his best.
Can I just ask you one more about Ryan Garcia? Obviously, he fought recently in New York. What did you make of his fight, and what do you think he should do next?
He just had surgery, right? I think he should, you know, get his health together and then, you know, come back stronger than what he was when he just left.
Who do you think he should fight?
Whoever.
Okay. Right, thank you guys.